The sun was setting behind the sharp, rocky hills of the planet Viridra. The sky was painted with dark red and orange colors. The wind blew cold, carrying dust and the smell of dry earth. In a small village hidden between the rocks, life was harsh and quiet. The villagers were tall and strong. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes shone like silver stars. They believed that only the strongest could survive on Viridra. Those who were weak were left behind or forgotten. In the middle of this village lived a young alien girl named Lyra. She was different from others. She was small and thin, and her skin was pale white instead of blue. Her eyes were dull, not shining like others. She could not run fast or fight like the other children. Her family called her a burden. Her father never looked at her. Her mother only gave her cold food and never smiled. Even her older brothers teased her and said she was useless every day. Lyra woke up early and sat alone near the village gate. She watched other children play and train with sticks and stones. They laughed and shouted, but Lyra was quiet and still. She was scared to join them because she knew they would hurt her. "Why do you waste time, little one?" her father said once, his voice cold and hard. "You will never be strong. You slow us down." Lyra felt a sharp pain in her chest. She wanted to cry, but held back tears. She did not want to show weakness. The village chief was a tall alien with long silver hair. He believed that only the strong could lead. He often said weakness is a curse. It brings shame to the family. Because Lyra was weak, her family started to ignore her. They left her behind when they went to hunt or gather food, they said. She was useless and made their family look bad. One evening, after a harsh day under the burning sun, the family gathered near the fire. The adults spoke in low voices. Lyra listened from the shadows. "We cannot carry her anymore," her father said. "She slows us down. She is a burden." Her mother nodded. "We must leave her behind. The village has no place for the weak." Lyra's heart stopped. She felt cold all over. "No," she whispered to herself. "Please, don't leave me." But her family did not hear. They prepared to leave early in the morning. That night, Lyra stayed awake. She packed a small bag with some dried fruits and water. She looked at the stars and whispered, "I will survive. I must." Early in the morning, when the village was still sleeping, Lyra quietly left her home. She walked through the rocky paths. Far from the village, the sun was just rising, and the air was cold. She did not know where to go. The world outside was wild and dangerous. Strange creatures hunted in the dark. The wind howled like ghosts. Lyra walked for hours, her legs tired, and her stomach empty. She found a small cave and hid inside. It was dark and cold, but safer than the open land. Days passed. Lyra tried to survive by eating berries and drinking from small streams. She missed her family, but also hated them for leaving her. One afternoon, she heard a strange sound. It was not from the animals. It was soft, like footsteps, but heavier and slower. She looked outside her cave and saw a figure walking toward her. It was tall, with pale skin and dark hair. The figure wore strange clothes with many pockets and tools. Lyra had never seen a human. Before, they were rare on Viridra. Many aliens believed humans were dangerous and selfish. The human stopped near the cave and looked around carefully. He seemed tired but kind. His eyes met Lyra's, and he smiled softly. "Hello," he said, in a gentle voice. "Are you hurt? Do you need help?" Lyra was afraid. She wanted to run and hide, but her legs were weak. She stayed still and watched him. The human took out a small box and opened it. Inside were glowing tools and food packets. "I have medicine." "And food," he said. "I am here to help." Slowly, Lyra stepped out of the cave. She kept her distance, but did not run. The human sat down on a rock and put the food in front of her. "You must be hungry." Lyra looked at the food, but did not move. She was not sure if she could trust him. "Your family left you?" the human asked softly. Lyra nodded, tears falling down her pale cheeks. "I am sorry," he said, "but you are not alone now." The human showed Lyra how to open the food packet. She tasted the sweet, soft fruit inside. It was the best food she had eaten in days. The human helped her drink water and cleaned a small wound on her arm. Night came quickly. The temperature dropped and the stars filled the sky. The human built a small fire, warm and bright. Lyra sat close to the fire, feeling safe for the first time in a long while. "Where will you go?" she asked quietly. The human looked at the fire and then at her. "I am an explorer," he said. "I travel to learn about new worlds and help those in need." Lyra thought about her village and her family. Could this human be her new family? The next morning, the human packed his things. "You cannot stay here alone," he said. "Come. With me, I will protect you." Lyra looked at the rocky path ahead, then back at her cave, with a small, hopeful smile. She took his hand and stood up. Together, they walked away from the lonely cave and the cold village. The journey ahead was unknown, full of danger and adventure. But for the first time, Lyra felt hope. She was no longer a burden. She was given a second chance. Lyra's small hand trembled as it held tightly to the human's rough palm. The rocky path beneath their feet was uneven and dusty, but she did not care. For the first time in her life, someone had reached out to her not to hurt or ignore, but to help. The human's name was Jack. He spoke softly, his voice calm and steady. "We need to move carefully. The village will notice I brought you away. It might come after us." Lyra looked back toward the distant cliffs where her village lay hidden behind sharp stone walls. A heavy weight settled in her chest, fear mixed with sadness. Could she ever return? Would her family come to find her? Jack noticed her hesitation. "You're safe with me," he said gently. "I won't let anyone hurt you." Despite the promise, Lyra's heart beat fast. The world outside her village was wild and unknown. Strange creatures roamed, and the wind whispered warnings. They walked in silence for a while, the sun climbing higher. Lyra's legs ached, but she kept going. Jack carried a small pack filled with food, water, and tools. He showed her how to eat the food slowly to save energy. As they traveled, Lyra tried to remember everything she had left behind: the cold nights, the harsh words, the feeling of being unwanted. Yet now, the human's presence made her feel small sparks of hope. Suddenly, Jack stopped. He raised his hand to silence her. His eyes scanned the horizon carefully. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. Lyra listened. At first all she could hear was the wind and distant birds, but then faint footsteps echoed from behind the rocky hillar, heavy, uneven sound. Jack's expression hardened. "They are coming." Lyra's breath caught. She knew. It was her family, or the village hunters sent to bring her back. Or worse, hide, Jack ordered quietly. He pulled her behind a large boulder just as two figures appeared, their silhouettes. Sharp against the sunlit sky, the two aliens moved quickly, scanning the area with weapons ready. Their voices were low but harsh. "There is no sign of the girl," one said. "She can't have gone far. She's weak," the other growled. "She will try to hide, but we will find her." Lyra felt cold and small behind the rock. Wanted to scream or run, but stayed silent. Jack held her hand tightly. "We must be patient." The hunters moved closer, searching every crevice and bush. Lyra's heart pounded like a drum. She thought of her mother's cold eyes and her father's angry voice. "Why did they leave me?" she whispered. "Why do they want me back, if I am a burden?" Jack looked at her with sadness. Sometimes people fear what they don't understand. They hide their feelings behind anger. One of the hunters suddenly stopped near their hiding spot. He bent down and looked under a bush, then moved on. Lyra's body shook. She could barely breathe. After what felt like hours, the hunters finally turned away, muttering curses. Jack waited a moment, then whispered, "It's safe now. Come." They crept out slowly and started walking again. But the danger was not over. As they moved farther, Jack explained, "Your family will not give up easily. They think they have the right to decide your fate, but you have a choice now." Lyra looked up at him. What choice? To be free, Jack said firmly. To live. Your own life. The words felt strange but exciting. Lyra had never thought of freedom before. She had only known survival and pain. That night, they camped near a small stream. Jack made a fire, and they ate quietly. Lyra looked at the flickering flames and thought about her past. The village was like a cage. The rules were strict, and love was rare. Jack noticed her silence. Do you want to talk about it? He asked gently. Lyra nodded slowly. She told him about the loneliness, the cold words. And the day they left her behind. Jack listened without interruption, his eyes full of understanding. Your family made a mistake, he said finally. You are not a burden. You are brave for. Coming this far, Lyra's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, someone told her she mattered. The next days were filled with lessons. Jack taught Lyra how to find safe food, how to use simple tools, and how to watch the stars to find direction. Lyra's body grew stronger, so did her spirit, but shadows from her past still followed them. One morning, as the sun rose behind the hills, a group of villagers appeared in the distance, riding strange beasts. They found us, Jack said quietly. The villagers shouted orders and raised weapons. Their leader was tall, his face stern and cruel. Lyra recognized him. It was her oldest brother. You must come back, he called. You belong to us. Lyra stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. I do not belong to anyone who calls me a burden. The villagers laughed, mocking her. Jack stood by her side. She is free now, he said, and I will protect her. The villagers snarled and prepared to attack. Jack quickly took out a strange device from his pack. It glowed with blue light and made a loud hum. The beast stopped suddenly, confused and afraid. The villagers hesitated. This is not your fight, Jack said. Leave now, or face the consequences. The leader scowled, but signaled his group to retreat as they disappeared. Lyra felt a strange mix of fear and relief. Thank you, she said to Jack. We still have a long journey, he replied. But you are no longer alone. That night, under the wide sky full of stars, Lyra finally smiled. She had left behind the shadows of her past and stepped into the light of a new future. The stars hung high in the sky, sparkling like distant fires, as Lyra and Jack moved deeper into the wild lands beyond the village. The cold night air bit at their skin, but the small fire Jack made kept them warm. For the first time in many days, Lyra felt a calm she had never known. The endless fear of being caught had faded, replaced by a strange hope. Yet deep inside, she still carried the wounds of her past pain from her family's harsh rejection and the loneliness of years. Jack sat beside her, watching the flames dance. We should rest, he said softly. Tomorrow will be a long day. Lyra nodded, but did not speak. Her mind wandered back to the village, how cruel and unforgiving it had been. Why did your family treat you so badly? Jack asked carefully. Lyra looked into the fire, her voice barely a whisper. They believe only the strong should live. I was born weak. A mistake. Jack shook his head. No one is a mistake. She looked at him, surprised by his kindness. You don't know them. They left me alone in the cold. They said I was useless. Jack reached out and gently touched her shoulder. People can be wrong. They can hurt those they love without meaning to. Lyra felt tears prick her eyes, but held them back. She was not used to kindness, not used to trust. The next morning, Jack packed their small camp and checked the sky. We need to find water and shelter before nightfall, he said. Lyra followed silently. She was learning quickly how to spot safe plants, how to listen to the wind, and how to move quietly through the rocky terrain. As they climbed a steep hill, the sound of rushing water grew louder. Jack smiled. There is a stream nearby. Lyra's throat was dry and her legs ached. She quickened her pace, excitement pushing her forward. They reached a clear stream surrounded by green bushes and soft moss. Lyra knelt and drank deeply. The cool water soothing her parched throat, Jack watched her with a gentle smile. Good, he said. We can stay here for a while. The small valley was a hidden gem in the harsh wilderness. Birds sang softly, and the trees gave shade from the harsh sun. Jack showed Lyra how to gather berries and edible roots. They built a small shelter from branches and leaves, a place safe from wind and rain. For the first time, Lyra felt like she had a real home, but the wild was not without danger. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, strange noises echoed near below, growls and snapping branches. Lyra's eyes widened. What is that?" she asked, fear rising in her voice. Jack stood, alert and calm. "Wolves," he said quietly. "They hunt in packs here." Lyra backed away slowly, but Jack held out his hand. "Stay close." The wolves appeared, eyes glowing in the dark. They circled the camp, watching carefully. Jack took out a small device that hummed and glowed with bright light. He waved it slowly, and the wolves hesitated. Then, as if afraid, they retreated into the shadows. Lyra let out a shaky breath. "Thank you," she said. Jack smiled. "We must be ready for anything out here." Days passed. Lyra's body grew stronger, and her spirit lifted. She learned to move quietly, to watch the sky for storms, and to trust Jack's wisdom. One afternoon, while exploring the valley, Lyra found a strange object half buried in the dirt. It was smooth and metallic, unlike anything she had seen before. She showed it to Jack. "What is this?" Jack examined it closely. "Technology from another world," he said. "It might help us." Curious and hopeful, Lyra touched the object. Suddenly, a soft light glowed from its center, and symbols appeared in the air like a hologram. Jack's eyes widened. "This is a map," he said. "Shows a hidden place nearby, old human base, abandoned but still safe." Lyra's heart raced. "Could we go there?" Jack nodded. "It might be the shelter we need." The next morning, they followed the glowing map through thick forests and rocky hills. The journey was hard, but Lyra felt stronger than ever. Finally, they reached the entrance of the base, a large metal door covered in vines. Jack worked on the lock, and with a hiss, the door slowly opened. Inside was cool and dark. The walls were made of metal, and strange machines hummed quietly. It was a safe place, protected from the wild and the dangers of the outside world. Lyra looked around in wonder. "It's like a new world." Jack smiled. "It's our new home." Over the next weeks, Jack and Lyra repaired the base. They cleaned the rooms, fixed the lights, and set up supplies. Lyra learned to use the old technology machines that could make food, clean water, and even heal wounds. One day, while exploring the base's records, Jack found something important. "This place was built to help people like you," he said. "Those who were lost or abandoned." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Why didn't anyone come here before?" "'Cause they didn't know," Jack said. "But now you do. And you're not alone anymore." That night, as they sat by a small glowing fire inside the base, Lyra spoke softly. "Jack, I want to thank you for saving me, for teaching me, for believing in me." Jack looked at her kindly. "You didn't need saving. You only needed a chance." Lyra smiled, feeling hope bloom in her heart. But deep in the darkness outside, faint sound echoed a warning that their journey was far from over. The quiet hum of the old base was a strange comfort to Lyra. The cold metal walls kept the wild outside. But inside, a new world waited to be discovered. Each day she learned more about this strange place and about Jack, the human who had saved her from loneliness and fear, but secrets waited in the dark corners, secrets that would change everything. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the distant hills, casting long shadows through the tall windows, Jack called Lyra to the main control room. "I want to show you something," he said, his voice low and serious. Lyra followed, her heart pounding with curiosity. The room was filled with blinking lights and screens, some still flickering with old images. Jack walked to a large screen and touched it. The screen came alive, showing a star map and several blinking dots. "This is the galaxy around Veredra," Jack explained. And here he pointed to a bright blue dot. is a hidden human outpost. It's a place where humans and some friendly aliens worked together long ago. Lyra's eyes widened. Why is it hidden? Because it was a secret project, Jack said. They built it to protect those who were in danger, especially children like you. Lyra swallowed hard. Children like me? Jack nodded. Not all alien worlds are kind. Many reject those who are different or weak. This outpost was meant to give them a second chance. For a moment, silence filled the room. Lyra looked at the stars on the screen and felt a strange mix of hope and fear. Will we go there? She asked softly. Yes, Jack said. But we have to be careful. Not everyone wants this outpost to be found. Suddenly, a low beep interrupted their thoughts. A red light flashed on the control panel. Jack's eyes narrowed. We have a visitor. Lyra's heart raced. She looked at the security camera feed. On the screen, a shadowy figure stood near the base entrance. It was an alien, but not like any she had seen before. Tar, with dark armor and glowing eyes. Jack grabbed a handheld device. They're scouts from your village. Lyra's breath caught. Why are they here? They want to bring you back, Jack said grimly, or stop us from leaving. The door to the base hissed open, and the figure stepped inside. The heavy metal door closed behind them with a loud clang. Lyra stood frozen, unsure whether to run or stay. Jack moved in front of her, calm but ready. Who are you? He demanded. The alien spoke in a deep, cold voice. I am Kale, captain of the Viridran Hunters. You have taken what is ours. Jack shook his head. She's free now. You cannot force her to return. Kale's eyes glowed brighter. She belongs to the clan. She's a burden and must be punished. Lyra stepped forward, her voice trembling but strong. I am not a burden. I am alive because of him. Sneered. You forget your place, weakling. Jack tightened his grip on a small weapon. We don't want to fight. Leave now, or you will regret it. Kale laughed coldly. You humans think you are strong. We will see. Without warning, Kale lunged forward, his armor glowing with strange energy. Jack fired his weapon, a bright pulse that struck Kale's shield. The fight had begun. Lyra ducked behind a metal pillar, heart pounding.
Ow.
She wanted to help but was afraid. Kale moved fast and strong, but Jack was skilled and clever. He dodged and fired. Using the base's narrow corridors to his advantage, the battle raged through the halls. Metal clanging and lights flashing, Lyra found herself drawn to a small control panel. Remembering what Jack had taught her, she pressed a few buttons. A loud alarm blared throughout the base, and heavy doors slammed shut, sealing off parts of the building. Kale snarled, trapped for a moment. Jack took the chance to push him back with a burst of energy, but Kale was not done. Activated a strange device on his wrist, sending a pulse that disrupted the base's power. Lights flickered and went out, plunging the base into darkness. Lyra gasped. Jack grabbed a flashlight and shone it on Kale, who stood calm in the dark, his glowing eyes the only light. We must find a way to stop him, Jack said. Lyra, come with me. Together, they moved quickly through the darkened halls, searching for the base's power core. If they could restore the energy, they might trap Kale inside. As they ran, Lyra felt fear creeping in.
Ow.
But she also felt something new, courage. She remembered all the times she had been alone, scared and weak. Now she was fighting. She was alive. At last they reached the power core room. Jack worked quickly, repairing broken circuits and flipping switches. Slowly, lights flickered back on. The base hummed with power once more. Kale's armor lost its glow, and he snarled in frustration. Jack moved to block the door. You will not harm her, he said firmly. Kale growled, but stepped back. This is not over, he warned. With a flash, he vanished. Leaving the base silent again, Lyra collapsed to the floor, shaking. Jack knelt beside her. You were brave, he said softly. I'm proud of you. Tears fell from Lyra's eyes. Not from pain, but from relief. That night, as they sat beside the fire, Jack told her stories of humans and their struggles, how they fought for freedom and kindness. Lyra listened, feeling a connection she never had before. She knew the road ahead would be hard, but with Jack by her side, she was ready to face whatever came next. For the first time, she was not just a burden. She was a warrior. The air was thick with tension as dawn crept over the horizon. Lyra and Jack stood side by side at the edge of the hidden base, their eyes fixed on the distant hills where shadows moved figures from Lyra's past. The Viridran hunters had returned, and this time they came in force. Lyra's heart pounded fiercely in her chest. The fear she once felt had not disappeared, but it was now joined by something new: determination. She would no longer run or hide. Jack placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Whatever happens, we face it together. The hunters advanced, their weapons glinting in the early light. Cale led them, his face twisted with anger and pride. "Bring her back. She belongs to the clan," he shouted. Lyra's voice rang out. "Clearly, I belong to no one." The first shot cracked through the air. Jack raised his arm, activating a shield that shimmered like glass around them both. "Stay close," he warned. The hunters charged, their heavy armor clanking, weapons firing pulses of energy. Jack moved swiftly, dodging and firing back with precise bursts. Lyra ducked behind a metal pillar, clutching a small device Jack had given her: a stun grenade. She remembered the lessons he taught her: how to fight, how to defend, how to be brave. A hunter spotted her and fired. The shot grazed her arm, pain flaring sharply. Lyra gritted her teeth and hurled the grenade. It exploded with a bright flash and a loud bang, stunning several attackers. Jack seized the moment, charging forward and knocking one hunter aside. Lyra followed, her fear melting into fierce courage. The fight grew chaotic, the sounds of battle echoing through the base. Lyra found herself face to face with a burly hunter. His eyes were cold, but she stood firm. "Why do you fight for him?" he sneered. "You're nothing." Lyra's voice was steady. "I am everything I choose to be." She dodged his blow and struck his arm with surprising strength. The hunter stumbled back, shocked. Jack joined her side. "We are stronger than you think." Together, they pushed back the attackers, using every skill they had learned. But the hunters were relentless. Cale activated a device that sent a pulse through the base, disabling Jack's shield. Jack fell back, stunned. As Cale advanced toward Lyra, "Your strength is wasted," Cale hissed. "You belong with us." Lyra's eyes burned with defiance. "No, I belong to myself." With a cry, she pushed Cale away and ran toward the control room. Jack recovered quickly and followed, fending off hunters as they tried to block their path. Inside the control room, Jack slammed his hands on the console. "Help me shut down the base's defenses." Lyra worked quickly, her fingers flying over buttons and switches. Outside, the hunters battered the doors, trying to break in. "Almost." "There," Lyra said, sweat dripping down her face. Suddenly, the doors gave way. Hunters poured in, weapons raised. Jack grabbed a heavy tool and swung it, knocking one down. Lyra activated a security system, releasing a burst of energy that pushed the attackers back. The battle reached its peak. Then, from the shadows, a loud roar filled the room. A massive beast, wild and fierce, charged through the broken door. It was one of the strange creatures that roamed Viridra's wilderness, a predator no one could control. The hunters froze, caught off guard. The beast attacked without mercy, scattering the hunters and forcing them to retreat. Jack and Lyra watched. As the creature disappeared into the night, leaving silence behind, breathing hard, Lyra looked at Jack. "That saved us." Jack nodded. Sometimes nature fights for those who have no other allies. As the sun rose higher, the hunters were gone. The base was safe for now. Lyra sank to the floor, exhausted but alive. Jack sat beside her, his voice soft. "Fought well? You are stronger than you know." Tears filled Lyra's eyes, not from pain, but from relief and pride. For the first time, she felt free. Not because no one chased her, but because she had found her own strength. Jack helped her up, There's still much to do, but together, we can face anything. Lyra smiled, hope shining brighter than ever. The days after the fierce battle passed slowly, but with purpose. Lyra and Jack worked together to repair the damage the hunters had caused to the base. Each broken panel and scorched wire was a reminder of the fight they had survived, but also of the challenges still ahead. Lyra's body still ached from the wounds, but her spirit burned stronger than ever. The wild lands around the base stretched endlessly, full of unknown dangers, but also opportunities. One morning, as the soft sunlight spilled through the base's windows, Jack spoke quietly. "There's a place nearby," he said. "Community.
Nice.
They live hidden, away from the war and hatred. Different aliens and humans who want peace." Lyra's eyes brightened. "Can we go there?" Jack nodded. "It won't be easy, but I think it's time." Packing what they needed, they left the base behind, stepping into the vast unknown. Journey was harder than Lyra imagined. The terrain was rough, twisting through forests thick with strange plants and across rivers that chilled her bones. But Jack was patient and strong, teaching her how to find safe paths and hidden food. As they walked, Lyra told Jack more about her life, the small moments of happiness she had hidden from the world, the dreams she had almost forgotten. Jack listened, carefully, never judging. Finally, after days of travel, they reached a valley unlike any other. Bright green trees surrounded clear lakes, and soft light filtered through the leaves. A village of huts and homes built with care and love spread. Before them, aliens of many kinds walked the path, some tall and strong, others small and gentle. Humans worked side by side with aliens, sharing food and stories. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest she had never known. This was a place of kindness. A tall woman with golden eyes approached them. "Welcome," she said, her voice calm and strong. "I am Sira, leader of this community." Jack smiled. "We seek shelter and friendship." Sira nodded. "You will find both here." As days turned to weeks, Lyra learned the meaning of family, of acceptance and love. She helped tend gardens, shared meals, and played with children who did not care about her strength or past. For the first time, she felt she belonged. But even in this new home, shadows of the past lingered. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Lyra sat with Sira by a fire. "Your family will not give up," Sira said softly. "They see weakness as shame. They may come looking again." Lyra nodded, her heart heavy. "I'm not afraid anymore," Sira smiled. "Good. You will need courage for what is coming." That night Lyra dreamed of her village, the cold faces, the sharp words. But she also dreamed of this new place. Warm and bright, filled with laughter and hope, she woke determined to protect this new family. The next day, Jack and Sira gathered the villagers. "We must prepare," Jack said. "The hunters will come again." The community trained together, sharing skills and stories. Lyra practiced fighting, not just for herself, but for everyone who depended on her now. She was no longer the weak girl left behind. She was a protector. One afternoon, scouts returned with news. The hunters were near. Closing fast, Lyra stood at the village edge, looking out at the approaching threat. Her heart pounded, but she felt ready. Jack came to her side. "We fight for more than ourselves now." Lyra smiled, a fierce light in her eyes. Together, they faced the coming storm. United as a new family, stronger than ever before. The dawn broke cold and gray, but inside the peaceful valley, storm was about to roar. Lyra stood at the highest hill overlooking the village that had become her home. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying distant sounds, footsteps, voices, and the low rumble of engines. The hunters were coming. But this time, Lyra was not the frightened girl left behind. She was a leader, a warrior, and a symbol of hope around her. The villagers gathered, Lians and humans united, ready to defend their new family. Sira, the village leader, stood beside Jack, her eyes fierce with determination. Jack placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. "You've come far," he said softly. "You ready?" Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the strength that came from years of pain, struggle, and love. "I'm ready." The ground trembled as the hunters' forces arrived dozens strong, riding armored beasts and wielding powerful weapons. Kale led them, his face twisted with rage and disbelief. "You defy us," Kale growled. "This ends today." Lyra stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "This ends when we say it does." The battle began with a roar. Energy blasts lit the sky as the two sides clashed. Jack fought with precision, his weapons flashing. Syrah led her people with courage and skill, but the heart of the battle was Lyra. She moved with speed and grace. Her every step a challenge to those who once called her weak. She dodged strikes and returned blows, protecting those who could not fight. Each moment, she grew stronger. Kale saw her and charged, their weapons clashing in a shower of sparks. "You should have stayed a burden," he hissed. Lyra smiled, sweat and dirt on her face. "I became a blessing." With a final push, she disarmed Kale, forcing him to his knees. The hunters faltered, their leader defeated. Lyra stood tall, looking at the faces around her friend's family and those who once doubted her. "You see, now," she said, "strength is not just muscle or power. It's courage, love, and the will to change." The villagers cheered, and even the defeated hunters looked on with respect. Jack stepped forward, pride shining in his eyes. "Today we begin a new chapter not just for Lyra, but for all of us." The storm passed, and the valley breathed. Again, filled with hope and peace, Lyra knew the road ahead would still have challenges. But she was no longer alone or afraid. She had found her place. She was no longer a burden. She was a hero.